Now, I feel very compelled to make this video after seeing what Trump tweeted about South Africa. This whole debate is very funny, but it's a very sensitive issue that we need to handle it with some kind of care, because this is a destiny of the people we're talking about between the white and the black. And I want to make this clear that what is currently happening in South Africa is not a race issue. It's not about black or white. It's an economic problem. It's a social problem. So it's simply a struggle between between the rich and the poor. So it's a struggle of power. Who controls the economy? So it's a very simplistic perspective to just dismiss it as a race issue. No, don't even try that. You're not going to succeed, because we have seen this constant historical denial and very false narrative, and some kind of falsification of history, and people, the revisionism, trying to narrate the history to favor certain historical perspective. But the reality is that history always come back to bite us. When you lie about history, it always come back to bite us. So now this is the future of your grandchildren. You have to be able to tell them the truth. You have to be able to tell them the reality. You have to face them, tell them the bitter truth. And I'm telling you today, white South Africans belong to Africa. They don't have any other home. Europe is not safe either. America is not safe. Israel is neither. It's not even safe either. So you have nowhere to go. And your ancestors bled in Africa. They fought that land. They fought for the land. They fought the English. They fought the blacks to remain in that land. So you are entitled to that land, to remain in that land. And if you feel entitled to that land, the best you can do right now, not to see that your neighbor's house is on fire, or the part of your house is on fire, and you'll be laughing. You might think it's just black problem, but no, this is your national problem. And I feel disappointed because I'm saying this, and this is the responsibility of the black government to call the Afrikaner nation to the table, sit down, negotiate the future of that country together. But they will not do that. So if the ANC government will not do that, you do that. The issue that white people should leave Africa is a non-starter. In my personal opinion, is a non-starter. So it shouldn't even come to the table. First of all, your land is your land. Your ancestors bled for it. You died. Your children, you're historically, culturally tied to that land. So you have to come do something and propose that things be done. And how can you do that? It's very simple. When people have basic amenities, they are contented. If their future is secured, the future of their children is secured, if they can have proper education, they are fine. So the issue of minority, 10% of the population owning 80% of the entire land, it's greed. That land you are holding on to so strongly, you might not even live long to see it. You're wishing that your grandchildren will be able to occupy this land. If you don't do something now, if you don't call a negotiation on the table, your grandchildren might not even be able to live in this land. Nowhere is safe in the world anymore. Europe is not safe either. We're seeing a huge global demographic decline among the Caucasian, the Westerners people. We're seeing a huge demographic decline. So Europe is not. We're seeing that the European population is being replaced by some aliens. When I say aliens, I mean black people from Africa, people from Asia, people from India, and from the Middle East that are coming to replace the European, the Western population. So it's important that we acknowledge this fact. We tell each other the truth that your future, your destiny is tied to the African land, to the African soil. And inviting and having discussion, inviting the rest of the people to the table and decide the future of your nation, it should be your number one priority, because if you're a nationalist and you understand the importance of building your nation, you have to do that to secure the future of your children. And if you don't do that, this is what will happen. The discontentment will go on. It will continue in a very large scale, and people will become poorer and poorer. They will get angry someday, they will pick arms, and they will fight you out. They will take the land, they will take the power from you, they will take your wealth, they will take all the properties and the material things that you've gathered in your life. And after they take it, they might even go as far as taking your life, or take your children's life, and then the future is not assured anymore. So the best thing to do right now is to come to the table to negotiate this, your destiny, the future, because do not underestimate the power of this groundswell population. We see this thing in histories. Even the Roman Empire, that was what brought the downfall of the Roman Empire. Nobody could have believed that such a huge and vast empire conquered the entire world would just be able to fall out of rebellion. You can't keep people subordinated for a very long time. They will rebel someday. They will take the power away from you, take your life, take your wealth from you, and destroy the entire kingdom. And we're seeing this trajectory in South Africa. And the fastest thing to do now is not by fighting with bullets or guns or try to poison people with through vaccines or giving them disease and all this stuff. The best thing to do right now is to bring negotiation to the table. What I mean, give them economic power, share the wealth together with them. Keeping huge vast of land will not take you to anywhere. It will only bring to your downfall. You should listen to your prophet Nicholas van Rysbeck. I like that man so much. He made so many predictions that are coming to pass. You should listen to him and try to understand that this world is changing. There is a power transition right now we're seeing from the West to Asia. So we have to go with the flow of the history. So come to the table, invite the black South Africans to the table, negotiate the land, talk to the ANC, tell them that this thing is not about race, it's just the destiny of your nation. You have to build it together. So my final word for you, do not ignore the words of the prophet. Do not ignore them. Very, very important. Remember history. The people in power, they never remain in power forever. There's always time for everything, and I will feel very sad to see that such beautiful people with very beautiful culture, very resilient people, the Afrikaner people, will just disappear out of history like that. I'll be very, very sad because your coming into Africa is very important. You brought your language, you brought your culture, your style of building, and it changed the landscape, it changed the mentality. The development came in, even though there are so many bad stuff. With the coming of settlers in Africa, the list are long, but it's nothing compared to the good things that happened to Africa when you came in. So the best thing to do, the only way to conserve this thing, the only way to make sure that you promote this thing, that it can be remaining with Africa, is to make sure that you come to the table to negotiate the future of your nation together. I feel sad, so do not ignore the words of the prophet. And you can hold power for a very long time. If you cling into it, if you allow greed to control your mind, you will lose everything that you have worked so hard for. Share it. Share your land. 80% owning it is not the right, it's not a charming choice to make. Share them with the entire population. And for those that are going around propagating this debate and trying to, look for cheap popularity out of it, or giving biased information, you won't achieve anything by doing that. By dividing us, we're not going to progress that way. We have to make sure that we look for solutions, for ways that we can be able to unite more and more as a people, as human race. That's how it's supposed to be. Let's marry each other, interracial marriage. Let's be able to promote peace, because there will be a time where we can't even breathe this air because it's getting more and more polluted. So many natural catastrophes. So when these things are happening, where are we going to hide? So now that we have the opportunity to secure the future of our children, we need to do that instead of fighting each other for nothing. You don't have any future anyway. Stay. Africa is your home. Build your country, build your nation. Come to the table and negotiate with the people, the native of the land.